Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
It's Sophie.
And it's Rachel. Ooh.
Sophie and Rach.
Little fun fact, don't actually like being called Rachel. Oh, every time I
Why?
say
It's
it.
your birth name.
I know, and thanks, Mum and Dad, for naming me it.
What does it mean?
Wisdom.
No, it doesn't. That's what Sophie means.
It does it. It does mean wisdom.
What, Rachel?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Mhm.
Google it.
Well, you can ask my mum and dad.
Okay.
Well, it's got a few different definitions. If you Google it, it'll come up as a female sheep, but the actual Hebrew meaning is wisdom or something around that.
Interesting.
I think.
So that's what Sophie means.
Well, Sophia, my middle name, also means wisdom.
So you just double wise. Are you sure it means wisdom?
I thought it did. I think
my
actually,
phone.
or it might mean beautiful one.
I think it actually might mean super talented, humble.
I think it actually might mean
Incredibly
the most
talented.
stunning, wise, brilliant human on this earth.
You're just saying things.
No, it definitely means, whatever.
Beautiful,
we'll
wise
confirm
queen.
that next episode.
If your name's Rachel,
It
let
means
us know.
queen. What does Sophie mean?
Wisdom.
Oh,
I've
right.
been telling you this all the time.
Well, Sophia also does mean wisdom, and that's my middle name. That's cool, guys, isn't it?
That's my middle name.
My middle name is Sophia, a bit like Soph's name. But yeah,
Crazy.
I don't really like being called Rachel, just because I think over the years I so go by Rach that when someone says Rachel, I'm like, ooh, clearly don't really know you, do I?
So if anyone sees Rach,
And calls me Rachel.
Don't call her Rachel.
Honestly, we're homies when you call me Rach. I do.
no, because everyone calls you Rach.
Oh yeah.
So you're not homies. That's
No.
the opposite.
Right. Okay. Well, do people at work call you Soph? Like more
Mixture.
than Sophie? Or
Probably Soph more, but a bit of a mixture.
and do people do you like being called Sophie?
I don't mind. I don't mind either way.
Nice.
I'm not
Lovely.
picky like some people.
Well, also I was thinking the other day, some people might not know who's who.
Yeah.
Because we never go,
That's why I said
Oh.
I'm Sophie
yeah, but they can't see you.
with the deep voice. Sophie.
Soph does have a deeper voice than me.
If you hear a deeper voice, then it's Sophie. If you hear a little squeaky mouse.
Then it's Rach. Lovely. Glad we could clarify that.
If you're an audio listener, we can give a visual description of what we look like.
Go on then.
This is Sophie speaking. I am about 5'6", 5'7" with shoes on. Mixed race, black hair.
Fit.
Sometimes often curly, but sometimes straight-ish.
Depending on the day.
Medium length hair, brown eyes.
Okay, thank you. That's probably enough.
Anything else?
Fit.
Those words came out of your mouth, not mine.
I am Rach. Hi everyone. I feel like I'm
Audio
on what was that show?
What show?
When you come down in the tunnel.
Take
and
Me
it's
Out.
Yeah, take me out.
I'm Rach,
I'm Rach,
24 from
I'm
Birmingham.
No, I am. I'm also about 5'5.5". What are we doing?
No, but people don't know.
Okay, I've got brown hair, blue eyes. Cool.
A wee little nose.
A what?
A
My
wee
brother always
little
says I've got a
nose.
big nose.
Your nose isn't big.
Or he says it's a bit like a crow.
That's mean.
Anyway, yeah, I'm Rach.
Brown hair?
There we go.
Long brown hair.
Long brown hair, often straight. Sometimes a little bit curly underneath, but you won't see
Oh,
that.
shut up.
Anyway, sorry guys, what an absolute tangent. We're going to get into
5
the episode,
minutes
aren't
in,
we?
what on earth are we talking about?
No, but it is true, guys. If you don't know which one is which, there we go.
Sophie.
Okay, let's get into the episode.
Okay, well, today's episode, we're going back into the relationship topic. It's a hybrid of relationship and friendship.
Yeah,
'Cause
our
today-
favourite kind of hybrid.
Today we're talking about, or our not just you topic is, it's not just you that supported a friend for a breakup.
Yeah, always had to support a friend.
Had to support a friend against
Not-
their will.
Not that it's a chore or anything, but has had to support a friend through a breakup.
Yes.
We just wanted to chat about what that's like.
It's like the other side of the coin.
Yeah, the dynamics that can sometimes arise when you might be mates with your friend's ex.
Now ex.
Now ex. Just generally like when to comfort and when to, you know, bring some hard hitting truth.
But also I think sometimes like it's actually, it can be not obviously the person that's going through the breakup is the one that's, you know, having the hard time. But it can still be a difficult time if you're a friend supporting a friend.
Well, yeah, because like whether it's a breakup or whatever, your like mate is essentially just having like a really hard time, which obviously impacts you.
Yeah. So we're just going to talk about all of that good stuff.
All of that brilliant stuff.
So where should we start?
So,
I know where we should start.
Where?
Your breakup.
Okay. Right. Straight in. Here we go.
Let's have some relatable.
Well, this is the mic over to you, mate. You were supporting me.
But you can share from your... Or should I start?
Yeah, go on. Well, as in you're the mate that was supporting me, weren't you?
I am.
You were.
Okay. So I'm starting?
Yeah.
Great.
So obviously I broke up. No,
you need to set the scene.
Yeah, set the scene. I had quite a big breakup. I was with my previous boyfriend for 3 years. So it wasn't the kind of... I think all breakups are hard. I mean, sometimes you could have been dating someone for ages, but actually... I think the severity of the breakup just basically depends on your feelings and how in it you were.
It's not necessarily time.
Yeah, it's not time related. But that said, I was in quite like a serious relationship for 3 years. So I would say it was quite a difficult breakup. And I think there were factors that made it even harder. One being the fact that we had a lot of mutual friends. We would hang out, you know, all the time with our friends. It wasn't like it was, you know, like, because sometimes you can date someone who doesn't live in the same area and you're just completely separate. Yeah. We lived in the same city, had all the same friends. So when the breakup occurred, it wasn't like out of sight, out of mind. It was like, oh.
They're right there.
And also, I guess the dynamic was Soph was incredibly good friends with my ex-boyfriend, which was also quite rare, even like the level of friendship there where it wasn't like, it's not like every mate is that good of friends with some, you know, your mate's boyfriend. So that's just setting the scene a bit. It was, I've not been through a breakup like that before. And I think if you've been through a breakup and it has really impacted you, you know, it is an incredibly like hard thing. It's basically like nothing else, where it's grief, it's loss, it's losing someone that was your main person and it feels like they've died, but they're alive and they're walking around,
but they're still there
and you're seeing them.
Yeah.
So it was really difficult for me, like from this, like where I'm at in my life, it was probably the hardest thing I've kind of had to go through. And I've never experienced grief, I would say, to that extent, because I've not lost anyone super close to me, but I can imagine it feels a bit like that, where it's just like incredibly painful and it's the heartache, really. So obviously in that, I had never experienced that before. Soph's never been through a breakup before. So I guess it was almost like a new experience together of like, because even like just breakups aside, you've probably not gone through like huge grief like that.
No, I haven't.
Or at least when you've known me.
No,
so I've not had to support you through that. So it was a real journey, but the headline would be like, you were incredible at supporting me. And like, so I think the main thing that I massively benefited from was just like the consistency of you being there. And Soph responded to the breakup in a way that was like no matter when or whenever like you need someone, like I'm gonna be there. And I think I really like saw that, where it was like, you really meant that, because people can say that, ring me whenever, but when you're actually full on bawling your eyes down, having a complete and utter meltdown, there are only a few people you feel like you can really let into that like vulnerability. And I really knew I could ring or, you know, ask for your help at any point. So I would say that for me was, I think, the most important thing in being supported.
Yeah. Gosh. It feels like a long time ago now.
I know.
Which it kind of was 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
But
over 2 years ago.
Yeah. I guess me speaking from the friend perspective, friend side of things, it's just, it's horrible. Like you said at the start, even though you're not the one that's going through the loss and the pain, if your friend is devastated, then how, it impacts you. That's the bottom line, isn't it? Like it impacts you, and when your friends are hurting, you're hurting.
And I think it is actually just, I mean, this is kind of a side point, but it's cool that you hadn't been through a breakup, yet you were still able to make me feel really supported. And I think sometimes, I don't know, some people can feel like, oh, I've not gone through something like that, so I can't relate and I can't really be there for them. And that's just not the case. It's like, actually, like I said, I think the most important thing when you're going through a breakup is just knowing that people are there to like listen and be with you and just willing to like help with whatever you can, whether that's just listening to like someone process or like taking them out and distracting them. It's like, you don't have to have been through the exact same situation to support someone. And I think even more widely than that, people can sometimes just fear these big emotions. So like, for example, even just with grief generally, if you know that someone is going through a really traumatic thing, the temptation is just to like low-key avoid them and kind of like be like, ooh, it's quite a British thing. Like, I won't ask because they probably don't want to talk about it. And it's actually like,
I think it's always better to ask.
Yeah, it's always better to ask, to offer your help, your support, to be there for them, rather than being like, oh no, I couldn't help, so I just won't. It's like, no, people need people. Like, they don't need distance.
Yeah. And I think the reality is I guess what we're speaking about is like when a very close friend of yours goes through a breakup, I think in some ways it's just very obvious what you do. And like I said, you can't help but feel those emotions with them. So it's almost a very natural response of like, of course I'm going to be there at any hour of the day. We'll chat, we'll do whatever. I think it's sometimes more difficult when it's like a friend and maybe you are close or you class them as maybe just like they're my friend and they're going for a breakup. And sometimes I think especially if you then also know the other person on the other side of it, and you can sometimes feel a bit in the middle, or how much do I get involved? Like you said, how do I ask? Do you want to speak about it with me? Maybe you don't, but then I don't want you to think that I don't care because I haven't asked you.
But it's just one of those things where it's like, the reality of that is everyone knows something's gone on. So it's like, by not asking about it, like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an elephant in the room. And there are times, obviously, someone won't want to speak about it. And you can tell that by their response. They'll just be like, yeah, no, it sucks. Cool.
Yeah,
cool. Like, you don't need to ask anymore. But I would always just say, guys, like, err on the side of asking than just ignoring.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think that's like you were saying with your breakup, where there's friends involved and there's mutual friends. I think sometimes when you're the friend supporting, and like obviously you'll have had this with other people where you've seen them go through a breakup, it can be that tiptoeing of like, again, with our situation, I think it was very clear, like, I'm here for you. And like just trusting that for your ex-boyfriend, like he had the people that were with him, and like as much as I want to be there for him right now, you're gonna have to just be the priority because it's just, you need me in this moment. I think it's when it's like you're maybe not as close in that way to solely be like,
and you're kind of in between.
Yeah.
And that is just really quite tricky to navigate.
And also, right, I feel like people don't speak about this, and sometimes it does feel selfish to say, but it is sometimes the reality of like, this sounds so blunt, but like, you're making things awkward for me in terms of if two people break up and you're friends with both of them, and you're like, oh, thanks.
I've now got to navigate a whole awkward situation.
Now I'm navigating these dynamics, which I never even wanted.
I just want my friendship group to stay how it was. Yeah.
And I feel like people, and again, in some ways, yes, it's selfish, but also it's actually not, because it affects you as well.
Yeah.
So if you're in a big friendship group and it completely breaks down,
yeah,
then like, of course that's going to affect you, and of course that's going to be difficult for you to navigate and work out, who do I message, whose side am I on, and just that is a real feeling of like, this wasn't inflicted by me, but I'm facing the repercussions of your decision. Like
of your selfish decision to date and break up. And I think like when it comes to choosing like a side, it is just quite dependent on the situation. It's like if you are realistically closer friends with one of them and, you know, they are feeling uncomfortable about you being mates with both of them, like you do. I mean, it's up to you whether you just have to kind of like show some loyalty to one side or if you're not. Like I can think of a situation where it's like, oh, I was more like just equally close to either party. And it's like, I don't think either person should necessarily expect any kind of... No. Like I think when you go through a breakup, there are some people that you're like, do you know what? You are my best mate. So like, I wouldn't really expect you to be hanging out with my ex. Yeah. But then there are obviously loads of other friends where you're like, no, I do get that like you're friends with my ex and like we're not that close. So like, you know, of course you're going to be friends with him and friends with me and whatever. And like, you almost just have to kind of judge it based on the situation. Yeah. I'm just now thinking of kind of as a friend supporting someone going through a breakup, almost like we were saying at the very start, just how do you be a good support and like how long do you let them go through the like wallowing in my feelings, everything's awful and oh my god, like which is a necessary part of the kind of process. How long do you let them go through that before you just go, mate, we need to snap out of it? Because I think doing that too early on is really unhelpful. Yeah. Like your day one of feeling upset. Like, so it's like, get over it. And you're like, come on, let's just get out there. Let's just get out. Find you a new man. It's like, that's not helpful right now, is it? Like how, do you know what I mean? I think it's difficult as a friend because then sometimes you can feel like, oh, flipping heck. Like, like it's been 6 months. When's this going to end? Yeah. But like, what can you do? It's friendship, innit? And it's also feelings. They're not always rational and explainable. I think like with any situation, if you do feel like your friend is thinking or feeling irrationally, like it is, there comes a point where you can definitely just kind of gently be like, look, I don't know, just try and help them to like gain some perspective. But ultimately it's like everyone takes different amounts of times to get over things. Because it might go the other way where your mate's like, let's say like if they have a breakup and then your mate's like, sick, like I'm on Tinder, like I've already matched with the next guy, like I'm going on a date, like off we go. And you're like, ooh, are you definitely over that last person? Do you know what I mean? That's a really real thing of where you're like, you can tell as a mate that your friend just isn't over their ex at all. And they're on the rebound. And they're already, they're rebounding and they're already like chatting with another guy and you're like, probably not the best. And then it's like, how do you deal with that? Yeah. And that's it. I think it's a very fine line of, I guess not even just in a breakup, but generally like loving people. And when is it actually like the loving thing to kind of call them out or to speak some sense into them? Yeah. Because they're in a moment of irrational thinking or they're not quite in the right mind space and they're making decisions that you know because you know them as a friend. Yeah. You're like, I know that actually this doesn't align with like who you are and your morals or what like type of person you want to be. So I think it's like trying to almost let them lead, but how can you lovingly be like, do you think this is a good idea? Or like, do you think we should try and like push through this a bit more like out of love, but not in a harsh way? Yeah. And I think that's all you can kind of really do, where it's like just love them and like be there for them. But ultimately it's like also like, you know, when friends take it too far and it's like, sometimes you just have to let them make their own mistake. Yeah. Like you're not living their life. Yeah. So it's like, you have to detach yourself a bit and be like, do you know what? I wouldn't do that. But if you want to do that and you're set on doing that and we've chatted about it and you're fully backing going and dating this guy like 2 weeks after you've just broken up with your ex, like fine, I'll just have to let you do that and we'll see how it friendship ends. As well. I think sometimes friendship is like being like, I'll stick with you regardless. Yeah. And allowing them to kind of, and I guess sometimes it's like,
who are you to say if something's a mistake or not?
Yeah.
But just being like, I'm not gonna judge you. I'm just gonna love you. And actually, that's so powerful. And I think in maybe like a year's time or have, you know, in retrospect, I'm sure that friend will look back and think they were such a good friend to me in that moment. I was doing all types of things, but they were just there for me and they just stuck it out.
And I would definitely like overall be more on the side of like, I would challenge a friend. So I would probably have a direct kind of opinion and be like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea because I think you're, but like once you've said that, it's just up choice. To them. Like you can't do any more than that. You can't lock them up. Like, do you know what I mean?
I'm locking you
You're
away.
You're not going out. Like it
You're
just
not
is
safe.
what it is.
You're
like
not safe for the public.
I know.
Yeah.
But in when I had my breakup, were you ever like, oh, just get over it, man?
Not that I can remember, because like the reality was it was just so savage. And it was also, I think you had a really great network of people around you where obviously I was, you know, one of the people that you were confiding in and was journeying it with, but there were other people as well.
It wasn't all on you.
I wasn't like bearing the brunt of everything, which I think as well is important. If you're a friend supporting a friend, and maybe it is a situation where you are their only friend, but as much as you can, I would say encourage them to reach out to other people, like a few different people. So, because it can feel heavy when you're supporting that friend and they're really upset, they're laying everything on you. It's like, flip, this is a lot.
Flip me, man.
And
feel like I'm going through it myself.
Like, gosh, did I go through a breakup? But I think as much as you can, encouraging them to like, hey, like, why don't you go and like hang out with this person? Especially for me, where I was like say, I haven't been through a breakup, and actually I knew it was really valuable for you to have people who actually, as much as you were like, you've not been through it and you were great at supporting, there's some things which I fundamentally just won't have ever experienced. So for you to have people who were able to be like, when I went through a breakup, this is some of the things that helped me. I can't offer that.
And that is actually a key part of like when you're going through a breakup, there are just some things that just can't be related, where it's like, you're not gonna know ultimately what it's like to have had a boyfriend for a few years and then not have one. Like,
no.
So I think that is actually like, if you can get mates around you that have been through a breakup, that is ideal.
And also, as the friend, I guess where this episode is from, like the friend's perspective, it's good for you as well, because you're not having to hold take all the weight of their feelings and emotions. But I think massively, like you were saying, or we were saying earlier, like just trying to love them well, and go at their pace.
And have you ever had it like, or how did you, or just like with my breakup or just breakups in general, the thing of like navigating the like mate situation, or like when you were like,
as in when you're like in the middle?
Like how have you found that?
I think, if I'm honest, like, well, depending on who it is, it's like difficult. I think especially with you, because like you said, I was really close with your ex-boyfriend, and like still I'm friends with him now. And like I said, it's like the reality is I don't feel like people really speak about this, but it's the loss of that person in your life as well, which is out of your control. Like for me, it was like, I can't have a friendship with this, and not saying this in a way of how dare you do this to me, but the reality is I can't have a friendship with this person now because of a decision that I haven't even made. And I think for a long time, well, not for a long time, but for a while, I think I actually found that quite hard to process. Like, how is it that a decision that I haven't even made and a choice that I haven't even made has resulted in me kind of losing one of my best mates? Like, that's not fair, but that is the reality of deep friendship. There's a cost to it, and you can't have a really deep friendship with someone, journey with them, and like do all this stuff, have all the high moments, the good times, and then not have to go to the depths of the low emotions as well, and be there with them in that. And I'd say I'd rather have deep friendships and have to kind of experience maybe some of the losses that come with like a situation like that, than just have really like surface level mediocre friendships where stuff like that never really affects it, but you've never actually got that deep.
Yeah, exactly. And that is just like, it's just the choice you make, isn't it? Because it's like, if you had decided to be like, nah, I'm not really going to stick like with you, I'm just going to go between, that would have made it obviously like very hard to continue like a depth of friendship, because it's like, well, I wouldn't want to confide in you about like the biggest thing happening in my life at the time, like,
which is completely fair.
Yeah.
But I think with maybe not this situation, but other situations where there's been friends involved, I think you like, it's just case by case, isn't it? But I think the best thing you can do as a friend supporting someone going through a breakup, well, one of the best things is just talk to them about like what their expectation is of you in this situation. Like, do you want me to, can I hang out with them? Can I talk to them? Would you rather me not? Would you rather me just be there for you? Like, if it's someone that you would class as a close friend, I think that's the best, because you can assume like, oh, it's probably fine for me to like go up and say hi and chat and have a little catch up, but actually that might really be hurting your friend that you actually do want to be there to support. And there'll be different levels, because sometimes you're friends with someone and actually you're like, I don't think I need to go to that extent of not talking to them or not, you know, carrying on with our friendship in the same way that it was. But if you do want to be there and support them in that way, in a more intentional way, I think just talking to them and be like, what do you expect from me?
Yeah. And I'd just say that's generally like just the best thing to do, where it's like, even on the other person's part, if you are like going through a breakup, just be clear with your friends. Like, just have the like clear conversation of like, oh, this kind of feels weird, this feels weird, or whatever. Because clear communication, it's always good.
Always. And on that note, anything else to add?
I don't think so. I don't really know what we've said in this episode, to be honest.
But I hope you've enjoyed it.
I hope part of it was useful.
Yes.
And just keep supporting your friends, guys.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, it's always good.
All right.
Well, see you soon.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.